Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, and today I am here with Natalie Jurado, and she has a great story to tell, because if you are struggling and if you go to the doctor, all they want to do is give you medication, and you're like, whoa, wait a second, aren't there other ways? She's going to talk to us about those other ways. So Natalie, why don't we go ahead and have you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. So again, my name is Natalie, and I'm absolutely positively obsessed with the mineral magnesium. And a lot of people are like, what? Why magnesium? Anything else in this world? And it's because it utterly and completely changed my life. And I don't say that lightly. It really, truly made a huge difference in my health and well-being. And I've made it a complete mission of mine to really share this mineral with everybody in the world who needs it.
I love that. And I love how passionate you are, because I am one of those that has never been healthy my whole life. Like, I've always had some type of health issue. And so, when you go to the doctor and they either can't figure it out and they tell you, you feel like you're crazy, or growing up, people thought I was crazy, but it's like, no, really, these pains are there. And it wasn't until later that actually it was probably been a year that I heard about magnesium. And especially after I've had COVID a few times, and they talk about the importance of, like, you should be taking vitamin D, you should be taking like these different things. And magnesium was one of those. So tell us it's a mineral, but why is it so important?
Absolutely. So much like you, I have a similar experience where I kept being told it was all in my head. Like, I kept being told this is part of getting older, and as a woman, you should expect these changes in your life. And for me, it started off as severe insomnia and anxiety and panic attacks. And it had to the point where I wasn't able to manage my family anymore. Like, I was struggling to drive. I was struggling to take care of my kids. It was really, really disruptive to my entire life. And so, I went to the doctor, because that's what we do. We go to the doctor. It's what the normal next step is. And she did every manner of blood work under the sun on me and sent me to every single specialist out there. I felt like a human pincushion, because there were so many times I was being stuck with needles. And at the end of the day, she sat me down to review all of my results, and she looked me straight in the face and she said, Natalie, there is nothing wrong with you. She's like, your blood work is perfect. You're one of my healthiest patients. And that's when she went on to tell me that this is normal part of getting older, and this is just what I could expect from here on out. And of course, she sent me a bunch of prescription medications that had a litany of side effects. And I just didn't want to be stuck in that prescription trap where you're taking one pill to deal with one symptom and another pill to deal with those side effects. I didn't want to go down that route. And that's when I discovered magnesium through a wild turn of events. I learned about magnesium. I started using it, and my whole life changed. I went from sleeping 2 hours a night to sleeping 6 hours a night within a week. I didn't have any panic attacks, went away. And I thought, wait a second, why aren't we talking about this? Why is this not being brought up in doctors' offices? Why aren't people, why isn't Oprah talking about it? Like, it should be on television. This should be out there. And so it kind of spurred this whole movement for me.
Wow. And I could get into my own reasons why, but it's cheap probably, right? So, you go to a grocery store, it's over the counter. You can buy magnesium not that you want to, because you have to be careful what they put into it as well. Pharmaceutical, big pharma is what we call them, right? They make millions and millions of dollars on all these different things. And so why on earth would they tell you to take a vitamin?
Absolutely. Why would they tell you to eat more of your leafy greens and nuts? Like, why would they tell you that? There's no money in the cure. There's lots of money in the treatments. So, unfortunately, and part of it is also because our system is not set up to really focus on nutrition and diet and lifestyle. We know that doctors get about 20 hours of training in nutrition while they're in medical school, just 20 hours. Like that's less than half a week, right? When you're working full time. And so they don't know to find those symptoms of nutritional deficiencies, because they simply haven't been taught. Right. So it really is up to us to advocate for ourselves. It's up to us to research and learn and have these conversations, and not be ashamed to talk about our symptoms, not be ashamed to talk about, hey, I'm feeling so stressed out that I don't know if I can manage this. Like, that needs to be a conversation that we have with our friends and our family so that we can kind of find these answers that we're looking for.
I love that. So what is magnesium found in?
So magnesium, when it comes to your diet, and I always recommend diet, you always start, like diet is always your first round of defense against any kind of deficiency out there. So magnesium is typically found in your dark green leafy vegetables, your nuts, your seeds, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, almonds. It's also found in dark chocolate. And I know many of us really enjoy those dark chocolate. And I mean dark chocolate, not that Hershey's bar that's filled with sugar, but that real dark chocolate is also a good source of magnesium as well. And like I said, you always start with diet. Diet is always number one, but it's also important to know that diet also has its limitations. It does tend to be kind of difficult to get enough magnesium through diet alone. So for example, it takes about 10 cups of raw spinach just to get the bare minimum amount of magnesium that we need in a day. And I love me some salads, but I'm not eating 10 cups a day. And I certainly I'm not able to get my kids to eat 10 cups of salad a day either.
Right. No, that's true. Because I actually started this diet last week. And when I say diet, it's one of those things like I lost 15 pounds in 3 weeks before. But it's healthy, like it's all health food. And so you're just throwing everything in a blender. And I got tired of drinking my food. And then I realized, oh, it's Mother's Day. So I'm like, all bets off. I'm going to enjoy it. And like last night, I look in the mirror again. I'm like, oh, my face is puffy. And you can always tell what I eat the day before because my face will show it. It puffs up or it doesn't. And so it's really interesting because I didn't realize like chia seeds, spinach, all these different things are in it. And you tend to feel better when you're on it. Whereas now I have all this sugar in me again. I'm like, oh, there is something to be said for that. So how come magnesium helps with anxiety and depression?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are dealing with these symptoms, then it's very likely that you're low in magnesium. So, we're talking the anxiety, depression, feeling overwhelmed, having those racing thoughts. If you're dealing with chronic headaches and migraines, restless legs, muscle cramping, excessive tension in our joints and throughout our body, heart palpitations, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. Like these symptoms are all associated with magnesium deficiency. And unfortunately, when we go, they do all manner of tests and then they worry that it might be something bigger without kind of first starting with that first line of defense, it's always our diet, So yeah, all these symptoms are tracked back to low magnesium, and it's often called the invisible deficiency because it's overlooked. It's not something that people really focus on. And it always like flabbergasts me where I'm like, first start with magnesium, see if it's that. And because it's involved in so many different processes, it really is one of those incredibly important minerals. You see, it is present in every single one of our trillions of cells, and it's involved in over 700 different biochemical reactions in our body. So literally without magnesium, we would fail to live. It would be game over for all of us if we didn't have magnesium in our diets in some way, shape, or form.
So you mentioned that you're going from sleeping 2 hours a night to 6 hours. Was it because you couldn't sleep? Like you had too many, because my daughter's like that right now. She went to the doctor yesterday or 2 days ago, and the doctors prescribed her all of this anti-whatever medication, said she has severe anxiety. She's like, I don't think I do, but she isn't sleeping. She isn't doing, like, she can't calm down, and she is having problems focusing. So do you feel like magnesium could be one of the issues that she's dealing with?
Those are classic signs of magnesium deficiency. So and I'm a big science nerd, so please let me, if I nerd out too much, please stop me. When it comes to magnesium, a couple of things that it does is, the first off is it activates the parasympathetic nervous system. So that's our relax and calm down system. The opposite would be our sympathetic nervous system, which is go get stuff done. We're on mission right now. We need both, right? We need our sympathetic nervous system during the day, parasympathetic to kick in at nighttime so that we can rest and relax and recuperate. So what happens in our society, we get stuck in sympathetic mode, right? We get stuck going, and then we can't relax at nighttime. Magnesium helps kind of kick in that system. In addition, magnesium lowers your cortisol levels, and cortisol is our stress hormone, right? So we're stuck in sympathetic mode, our cortisol's off the charts, and then we hop in the bed and we're like, hey brain, stop. I need you to stop, and the brain won't shut off. And then lastly, magnesium binds to GABA, which is a neurotransmitter that's responsible for calming down your brain and preparing it for relaxation. So when we don't have enough magnesium, our cortisol's high, we're stuck in sympathetic mode, we're not getting enough GABA to really calm our body down, and we're unable to sleep. And now when it comes to sleep, sleep is like that first domino that knocks everything else over. When you don't get enough sleep, you're fatigued during the day, so you don't have enough energy. You're anxious during the day because your brain won't shut down. It's kind of like it knocks everything else down. And that's what leaves us feeling really anxious. And almost like what would I like to call wired and tired, where your brain is wired, but your body just wants sleep in the worst way.
So what happens, and maybe you don't know, or maybe it isn't magnesium, but like my son can literally sleep 12 hours and wake up and still be tired. For the first time, and I can't tell you how long, slept 8 hours last night, and I woke up still feeling like a Mack truck hit me. So does magnesium help you not be tired, or is that more? Tell me about that.
Absolutely. Great question. Lovely question. I actually have not been asked that before. And so I'm so glad you asked that. Yeah. So magnesium, it's funny because magnesium helps, it creates energy in our cells, right? So it's involved in energy production on the cellular level, right? So it gives you energy during the day and it helps you fall asleep at night. And most people will look at me like, yeah, well, how does one thing give you energy and also relax you and make you sleepy? Like that's the first question that people often ask, because it's a contradiction, right? So what magnesium does is it makes your body work the way it's supposed to. So when you don't have enough magnesium, you're not able to complete many of those 700 different biochemical reactions efficiently. So what happens is we're supposed to have energy during the day. We're supposed to be able to hop out of bed, get ready, and get going in the morning. And our body is supposed to start winding down and relaxing in the evening and preparing us for bed. But when you don't have magnesium, everything's haywire and not working the way it's supposed to. So we don't have that energy during the day. We feel tired all day long. Our brain won't shut down at nighttime, and we're feeling exhausted and not able to sleep at the same time.
Wow. I wish that we were scheduled to be able to talk and that we had to reschedule. And I wish, because my son's graduating and I can't get him to do anything and he's a week from graduating. So it's like, darn it, I wish I would have known about this before. So what you're doing is so incredibly important. I love that. So you have some therapeutic magnesium products, right?
Absolutely,
so talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was first going through magnesium deficiency, I was taking all the oral supplements out there, trying to figure out which one's going to fix me, and I wasn't feeling the results. But then I started using magnesium on my skin. I actually bumped into a lady at a market, and she was a much older lady, and we started talking. I started telling her about what I was going through, and on a whim, she's like, why don't you use some magnesium on your skin? And I thought, what is this lady talking about? My skin's not going to do anything. I need it in my body. And she's like, no, it really absorbs through your skin. So I started using it on my skin, and instantly felt these incredible benefits. And it really kind of got me thinking, well, why is it that I was taking oral magnesium and it wasn't working? But meanwhile, I used it on my skin and it started to work. Well, for many of us, especially here in the United States, many of us have gut issues. We have leaky gut, or we're dealing with Crohn's or IBS, or just an inability to properly absorb our nutrients. So, we're taking these pills, but they're not getting absorbed into our bloodstream the way that they're supposed to. And that's where using topical magnesium is a wonderful way to introduce your body to it, absorb it really quickly, and kind of overcome those digestive issues that so many of us face. Of course, the goal is always to fix and heal our gut in the process, right? But sometimes we just need to start feeling better. And by using that magnesium on our skin, it really goes a long way towards boosting your levels. There's also some really cool studies that show that magnesium uptake happens about 5 times faster on your skin as opposed to a pill or a powder. So we definitely need more studies in this field, but most of the studies are conducted by pharmaceutical companies. So there is limited research out there for it.
So you're beautiful and your skin looks beautiful. So do you use it on your face, or do you use it have you noticed a difference with how your skin looks?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to your skin, I don't use, you can use magnesium cream or magnesium products on your skin. On your face, but it needs to be at very low concentrations because magnesium chloride is incredibly concentrated. The cream that I actually worked to develop, I spent about 2 years working with 6 different chemists from all around the world to double the amount of magnesium that's typically found in a cream. So ours are incredibly concentrated, and I wouldn't use those on face, but you can use it throughout your entire body. And what most people don't realize is that magnesium is involved in the aging process. So magnesium actually works with helps to raise glutathione levels in our body, and glutathione is that anti-aging antioxidant that we need so much of. So it does help with anti-aging. It does help with cellular turnover when used on the skin. It also helps with inflammation, and especially for us women, it helps balance your hormones. So a lot of times when we're dealing with hormonal acne or premature aging, it's because our hormones are firing, either we're making too much estrogen or not enough progesterone, and magnesium plays an incredible role, in particular with PCOS and estrogen dominance, to really kind of help with estrogen clearance in the liver. So it does wonders for our hormones as well.
Crazy. So I have a daughter who has stomach issues, like her stomach always hurts. And yes, she's lactose intolerant. We get that, but there's other times where she eats and she's doubled over in pain. So how young could somebody use some of your products?
Oh, as young as a year old. So I actually have used magnesium, our magnesium creams on my children since they were little. Children desperately need magnesium as well, just as much as us adults do. And in particular, because, our kids, I don't know about you, but my kids aren't always eating salads. Getting them to eat a salad and to eat anything green can be a real problem sometimes. So they're not getting enough magnesium through their diet. The other thing is our kids are active. Mine are constantly running around outside, playing basketball, involved in sports, and magnesium is an electrolyte that you sweat it out. So the more active you are, the more magnesium you need to replace in our body. I like to compare it to like protein. So, every day we get our protein goals. Well, every day we should be getting our magnesium goals as well, because we burn through it really quickly. And another way that, and this is really where I see this a lot with children, is magnesium. We burn through our magnesium when we eat sugar. For every 1 molecule of magnesium, or every 1 molecule of sugar that you consume, it takes 54 molecules of magnesium to balance that out. So the more sugar our kids are eating, and I mean, let's face it, there's sugar at birthday parties, sugar at school, sugary snacks all the time. So the more sugar they eat, the more magnesium they are going to need to balance that out as well. So our kids really do need magnesium.
Can you overdose on it at all? Or is it kind of like vitamin C where you pee it out?
That's a great question. So magnesium, if you're taking it orally, you can overdose on magnesium, but overdose typically happens at rates of about 5,000 milligrams over a course of several days. Nobody should be taking 5,000 milligrams. The RDA, the recommended daily amount, is 350 to 400 milligrams. So that's a reference for you. But here's the beautiful thing. If you do get too much magnesium into your body, our body has a built-in safety mechanism. So in other words, magnesium comes in, our body says, hey, that's too much. It gets processed through your kidneys and your digestive tract, and your body will essentially poop it out. So if you have too much magnesium, you may wind up stuck in the bathroom, which is not pleasant, but it's not going to do you any harm.
So what, like vitamin D, they say you shouldn't take it past the afternoon because it'll keep you up, right? You're supposed to take it in the morning. Can magnesium, are you supposed to take it at a certain time of day or no?
So magnesium is best taken with food. And I always recommend breaking up your doses. So if you're taking, let's say you're taking 300 milligrams a day in oral supplements, you would want to take like 150 in the morning and 150 at night. That way you give your body adequate time to absorb it, process it before you're getting more in your body. That gives you, it'll give your body more opportunity to absorb more of it at a time. So I always recommend take some in the morning, take some at night, especially if you have a hard time sleeping, take it in the evening after your meal. If you're hitting fatigue, like I know a lot of times around lunchtime, I kind of hit that mid-afternoon slump, then I'll go ahead and take magnesium with lunchtime to kind of give me some energy throughout the day as well.
I love that. You've like blown my world. I'm gonna literally after this, I'm gonna call my daughter and say, okay, don't fill that prescription yet. Let's try this first and see if she feels better. So that's cool.
It's worth a try. Magnesium is safe. It's so safe, and it's cheap and readily available. It really is. Everybody should be taking magnesium. Like that's the way I feel about it. It really is amazing. And there are different ways to take magnesium. Of course, we have our oral supplements, our pills and powders, and then we have our topical, our creams and sprays. And you can also do something as simple as an Epsom salt bath. Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate. So throwing some in the bathtub, soaking for 20 minutes can really help boost those magnesium levels for you as well.
I love that. I'm going to have my daughter start taking baths too before bed so that she can relax. Okay. So last question that I have regarding this is a lot of times when you go to the doctor, they're going to take a blood test, they do their full CBC panel, and then they say, let's check for vitamin D as well. Is magnesium in that CBC, or do you have to request additional?
So magnesium is an additional test that you would actually specifically have to ask your doctor to do.
Okay.
Unfortunately, magnesium tests are not an accurate representation of what's happening in your body. So about 60% of our body's total magnesium is stored in our bones. 40% of it is in our muscles, tissues, and organs, and less than 1% of it is in our blood. So when we look at that 1%, it's not telling us what's actually happening throughout our entire body. In fact, you could be chronically deficient for years before it ever shows up in your blood. So the National Institute of Health says that blood, magnesium serum tests are just not an accurate picture of what's going on, and to go based off of your symptomology instead. So if you're presenting with those symptoms that I mentioned earlier, the restless legs, the muscle cramping, the insomnia, the anxiety, if you're presenting with those symptoms, it's good to just go ahead and take magnesium, see if those symptoms improve. And that's kind of like your at-home test to see if magnesium was the underlying issue for you.
Okay, so you mentioned that 60% is in your bones. So say that you are severely deficient. Could you have broken bones a lot of times because of that? Or is it calcium, or is it both? Because my daughter is always breaking her foot, always. And so could that be the issue?
That's got to be very uncomfortable for her.
Yeah,
But yeah, so let's talk about the
is.
relationship between magnesium, vitamin D, and calcium, because you mentioned vitamin D earlier as well. So
Yeah.
vitamin D, when we take it as a pill or a powder, is taken in its inactive form. It actually needs magnesium in order to activate that vitamin D in our body. And as you know, vitamin D helps your body absorb calcium. So if you're taking inactive vitamin D, it's not doing you any good. It's not absorbing that calcium the way you're supposed to. And you need that magnesium to kind of complete that cycle.
I love that. I'm so glad you came on. Okay, so we've talked a lot about that, and I want to kind of switch gears for a second and tell me what is something, obviously magnesium, I know you wish you would have known this a long time ago, but what is some type of piece of advice that you would give people that are really struggling with their life and they're not quite sure? What is a question that I haven't asked you that I should have asked you?
Yeah. So I would say something that I learned throughout this entire process that just really has empowered me so much is to never settle for someone else's normal. So when I went to the doctor, she's like, well, your blood tests are normal. This is normal to not be able to sleep. And I would always just be like, well, if that's what the doctor says, and that's what the doctor says, I guess this is my new normal. Don't settle for that. Your normal should be written by you. You should be the one who decides what is and is not normal for your life. And if something is working in your life that you don't feel is normal, then you're the one that's responsible for changing it and growing from it and finally finding your own normal.
Wow, that's fantastic. I really appreciate that. So what if somebody wanted to get a hold of your products or get in touch with you to talk to you further? Because I absolutely want your products. So how would we find you?
So I can be found, our products can be found on our website at berootedin.com. So Be Rooted In is our website, and I can be found across all social media channels, Instagram, Facebook. I'm really active on TikTok. We do a lot on TikTok, and all of our social media channels are same handle at Be Rooted In as well. Please feel free to reach out. I have so many great resources. I'm always available for questions. On our social media channels, we've got lots of really good resources like Magnesium Types Cheat Sheet, which helps you figure out which type of magnesium is going to be best for your unique problems. We have magnesium resource guides, quizzes, all sorts of great things to kind of help you on your journey.
Well, Natalie, you have been an absolute delight, and I'm so glad that you were on, because moms, if you are struggling sleeping, if you're struggling with anxiety, depression, magnesium is cheap, much cheaper than a doctor's office and all your blood tests. So reach out to Natalie. This has really been very helpful, and I will keep you posted on my kids' journey and my journey as well. So thank you for being on.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and thank you for what you're doing to spread awareness to everybody out there.
I appreciate it. Okay, moms, go make it a fantastic day. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Charisse Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Charisse Walker.